I kept on writing. I wrote more and more successfully. Everything was going along fine. Went down to Hollywood, wrote pictures, things like this. Had a very full life, as a matter of fact, professionally. And the next thing you know, why, we were all involved in a common war, which evidently now has been totally undone and has to be done all over again, but that's the way wars are. Wars never solve anything. They just put the solution off a little further. And during the war, I had some very interesting experiences on the subject of the mine. I was on one ship that had about 700 men on it, and we were getting 2 people a week going mad. 2 people a week went mad on that ship. That's an awful lot of people going mad. But in view of the fact that we had no replacements, they were simply left on duty for the most part. We particularly contested taking off duty. One chap who had had the bad taste to want shore leave in the middle of the Pacific Ocean and had come up to request it of the executive officer, and had found the executive officer in a shower. The executive officer was not well liked on this ship. And the executive officer, from the lather and spray of his shower, said something coarse and uncouth to this fellow. This fellow whipped out a knife, dived into the shower, chased the executive officer out, and we had the wonderful view of the executive officer running round and round the deck with this madman behind him brandishing a knife. I remember stepping out of my cabin with the gunnery officer and watching this pair go by on their first round. And the gunnery officer said, "Here," he said, I've got a gun, let's stop this." And I said, "Why?" About that time, why, 2 masters at arms entered the parade. And it became very, very amusing, so we watched it. Why, there hadn't been any amusement for a very long time. Finally, we got tired of it, the gunnery officer and I checked the madmen by putting out a foot, and the crew wouldn't speak to us for a week. But this fellow had to stay on duty. The medical doctor of that ship and I had the same cabin. I'd been studying the mine for quite a while, and the men in the crew would come up to get bandaged up or something like that at all hours of the day or night. When the medical officer was out, they would get me, you see. I'd process them one way or the other. And when he was there, why, he'd give them pills and sew them up. So they had a good time of it. And I had an awful lot of subjects matter to study. The medical officer turned it all over to me. He was kind of bored with it all anyway. He was on the verge himself.